So what I wanted to do is just give you a quick overview of the export settings that we use for the different platforms, how to get the best render quality in the videos for the different platforms that you're going to be exporting to. Also, at the end of the video, what I'm going to do is create these as presets and upload them to our Patreon. So if you're a member of our Filmmakers Club on Patreon, you'll have these as presets to import into Premiere Pro. The first thing you're going to be confronted with is the format. Now, hopefully this is pretty self-explanatory, but you want to have this set as H.264. It means that you can use the MP4 codec, which is pretty universal to any device, but also accepted by literally every video platform out there. So I've got that set to H.264. You want to have obviously export video and audio enabled, and the output name, if you click on that, that's going to tell you where it's going to save the video onto your computer. That's all the basic stuff. So we're going to jump straight down and get into a bit more detail. Now, the basic video settings is the next section we need to look at. Now, this is where it's going to set the constraints for the actual video itself. So the frame size and the frame rate. Hopefully this should match your sequence if you've been editing in the same settings. So we have, for this particular video, it's set to 1920 by 1080, the frame rate of 25 frames per second, and I've got it set as square pixels. The TV standard for us, obviously, we're in the UK, so that's set as PAL. If you're in America, you want to have that as NTSC, so that's something to bear in mind as well. We're going to now jump straight into the really important part, which is the bitrate settings. The bitrate, if you just change that in your head for quality, the bitrate is where we set the video quality. What we're doing here when we export or render is we're compressing our sequence into a single video file, and when we compress anything, we are trying to find the perfect balance between a small file size but with the best video quality, and the bitrate settings is where we achieve that. And all of this is pretty meaningless unless you know what your intentions for that video are. If it's YouTube, they have some recommended settings, the same for platforms like Instagram or Facebook, but it could be you just want to archive it, or maybe even send it as a finished video to a client or customer. All of those things will dictate what your settings are here. For example, YouTube. For a video like this, a 1920 by 1080 at 25 frames per second, YouTube recommend 10 megabits per second as their target bitrate. If we look at a platform like Instagram that heavily compress their videos, that's all the way down to 3.5 megabits per second. So let's look at these settings here. Bitrate encoding. For argument's sake and for ease, right now I just want you to have this set as VBR, variable bitrate, and 2-pass. I'll explain why later. The settings underneath are the really important ones. That's where we actually set how much data per second is saved into your compressed video. So how much quality is there compared to the amount of compression. Maximum bitrate is pretty self-explanatory. That is what the highest amount of data per second your computer is allowed to use to get your video. So the higher that is, the higher the perceived quality. Target bitrate is misleading. It actually should read average bitrate, which means what is the overall average you want me to have your video compressed at. Obviously, again, the higher that is, the better the perceived quality, but that might not be ideal for all the platforms. This makes even more sense when you consider what's actually in your video. If you had a still image with no text, no graphics, nothing moving, not really much dynamic range in there, then it would require a lot less data for it to look good. If your video had a huge amount of movement, lots of lighting change, or maybe some heavy processing effects, whatever it may be that's intense for your computer, that's going to obviously need more data per second for it to look as good as you want. So the maximum bitrate needs to be higher in order to achieve that. So the target bitrate, or the average, is what your computer is going to try to achieve in order to maintain quality whilst getting a smaller file size. And the final part of this is the amount of passes, the 2-pass that I've told you to set it at. Only have it set as 2-pass if you've got the time. 1-pass is if you're in a massive rush to get it done, because it does mean it's going to render it once. 2-pass means it's going to render your video twice, essentially. The reason I say 2-pass is because it will get you the best quality with the smallest file size. VBR 2-pass, your computer will render the video twice. On the first time, it essentially just watches the video for you and figures out how much data in every single frame is needed to achieve the best quality with the smallest file size. And then on the second pass, it applies that. So VBR 2-pass, if you have time, will always achieve a better quality with the smallest possible file size. Again, there's a huge amount of information that I know, and it's kind of daunting when you look at it like this. I'll attach links in the description to the different articles that tell you all the different requirements for the platforms such as Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. And like I said earlier, if you're a member of our Filmmakers Club on Patreon, I'll upload these as presets for you to use in Premiere Pro so you can get these export settings super quick.
To be honest, it was a subtle relief because there was a bit of fear that you were going to show us all of your bits.
Yeah, if you found it helpful, actually if you've got any burning questions about how to get the best out of your renders or just how to edit in general, drop them below in the comments. But also, as I said earlier, if you're a member of our Patreon, the Filmmakers Club, #Watermelon Squad.
Well, it's just Filmmakers Club now.
If you're a member of the Watermelon Squad, then I'm going to make those export settings as presets for you to download for awesomeness, ease, speed, just another great reason to be part of our Filmmakers Club.
Yeah,
really.
and he'll sign this and send it to you, so you could be the lucky winner of AJ's custom build microphone. It's more of a prop than anything else now, but you know, if you wanted a £400 microphone as a prop,
technically it's 2 props.
You know, 2 props. So yeah, that's been our Friday video. If you like that sort of thing, tune in on a Friday. If you want to see product reviews, tune in on a Monday. If you want to see how to break things, that's more like a Wednesday type of video. Yeah, and that's it for now. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next time.
We shared the line.
That was good.
Yeah,
you learnt it?
Well, only part. I'm learning it as we go.
Half of it.
Yeah.
A bit like your microphone.
Yeah, it's a small bit of the auto cue, I just took it.
Yeah.
So they're still here.
We haven't got anyone else to press off, that's why. No one else to press stop.
It's Friday, the whole crew has gone. Just us. Us and the broken microphone. £85 just to look at it.